All right, listen up, fam. This high school is basically a training camp for future criminals. We're talking sleeping in class, brawling in the hallways, even the teachers are too scared to step in. Isn't this place a total nightmare for studying? But get a load of our boy. He looks like a total nerd with those glasses, but he's actually a top-tier fighter who settles arguments with his fists. And his ultimate goal for being here? To get into college. And we cut straight to the chaos. We're in some shady underground gambling den, and all hell has broken loose. Spectators fighting the organizers, organizers fighting back, and yup, someone's about to get a face full of folding chair. Absolute pandemonium. And there it is. Bam. Chair meets face, no hesitation. But while everyone's freaking out over the carnage, some girl literally drops out of the sky. Our boy Gammon, cool as a cucumber, just hands her his phone and glasses for safekeeping. Showtime's officially starting. Up on the rooftop, the opponent tries to play mind games, telling him to hand over his glasses too. Big mistake, dude. Our boy Gammon just hits him with the coldest line, "Don't come crying me about attempted murder or some shit later." OOF, the sheer confidence. He is not messing around. Meanwhile, the guys supposed to be live streaming are completely clueless. How do we even do this? Are we on Running Man or something? Little do they know, while they're fumbling with their phones, the beatdown has already begun. People are getting absolutely wrecked. And the action isn't just on the rooftop. Elsewhere, this girl is on a rampage, declaring, "This is nowhere near enough payback for he won." She's clearly out for revenge. And look at this dude running for his life. You mess with the wrong crew, buddy. Back to another member of our study group. And this red-haired kid is no slouch either. A quick grab, a solid crack to the chest, and his opponent is down. Look at him, just casually dropping a nice. After the takedown, the swagger is real. And here's the squad. You've got the guy who's slick with a pole, the cool and collected one, and the fangirl who's living for the drama. But that title drop? We're the Yusung High Study Group. Chills. They're making their name known. But deep down, our boy Gammon hates this. Look at him, panicking. Do I really have to fight? All he wants to do is hit the books. But in a school like this, you don't get choice. The fight comes to you. Once he's in it, though, Gammon's fight IQ is off the charts. He's not just going to stand there and trade blows. He's analyzing, moving, looking for the perfect position to strike. This isn't a brawl for him. It's a chess match. The spectators are shook. They can't believe Team Yusung sent in Gunyeb Park. You could just tell from that cold, hard stare that he's bad news. The whole vibe of the fight just shifted. Turns out, this Gunyeb guy was sent by someone named Manhwa. And man, the tension between these two is thick. They're trading veiled threats and sarcastic jabs. There's definitely some bad blood and a whole lot of history here. And as we suspected, Gunyeb is being blackmailed. He has no choice but to obey Minwan. You can see the pure frustration and anger in his eyes. But before he can even make a move, BAM, he gets taken down hard. The one who took him down? None other than our boy Gammon. Look at that move. A brutal hair grab into a devastating slam. Absolutely savage. Who said nerds can't fight? Our boy is the full package. After that insane takedown, Gammon just stands there amidst the dust and debris. The way he carries himself, that steady walk. He's not just some high school kid anymore. He moves like a seasoned fighter. But the opponents just keep coming. Just as one goes down, another one leaps into action, aiming to take Gammon out. They're not giving him a single second to breathe. This is a straight-up ambush. But hold on, plot twist. The guy who just got wrecked, Gunyeb, seems to have a history with his attacker. He's talking about regrets? This is getting complicated. It's not just a random fight. There's a personal vendetta here. And the truth comes out. This guy was involved in an incident with Gammon's mom. We see the flashbacks, and it looks brutal. Now he's here, apologizing. Our boy is completely blindsided. Look at his face. He has no idea how to process this. And then he drops an even bigger bombshell. To make up for what he did, he's going to fight in Gammon's place at the upcoming tournament. And I'll do my best, he says. Gammon is stunned into silence. Is this guy for real, or is this some kind of trap? He doesn't waste any time. He immediately jumps into the fray. But the next opponent is a real bruiser. "Who the fuck are you?" he roars, grabbing him by the collar. A new fight is about to pop off. This new guy is not just physically dominant. He's trash-talking while he's at it. He's pointing out all his weaknesses, telling him he's not strong enough for revenge. It's a physical and psychological beatdown. The brutality is insane. A knee straight to the head, stomping him into the ground. You can feel the impact through the screen. Even the goons watching are shocked by the sheer viciousness. This is just another day at Yusung High, the law of the jungle. Despite their history, it looks like they're putting it aside for now. Just because you regret what you did doesn't make you any less of a piece of shit. Harsh, but he follows it up with, "Now come at me with all you've got." It's on. The real battle begins now. And so, a new chapter begins. Back at Yusung Tech High, our studious warrior Gammon is ready for the next challenge on his path to college. Look at that explosive start. He's running headfirst into whatever comes next with pure power and determination. He's immediately thrown into a high-intensity brawl. He takes a solid hit to the head, but look at his eyes, calm, focused. And then the counter. He sends his opponent flying with a powerful kick. That reaction time and core strength are insane. Even after getting knocked down, he's instantly back on his feet, eyes locked on his target. He unleashes a flurry of rapid-fire kicks, turning the tables in an instant. But wait, that look on his face. He's noticed something. This fight is far from over. He's not just fighting, he's analyzing. From your quick and simple punches, he's already figured out his opponent's entire style. Our boy is fighting with his brain, breaking down his enemy move by move. It's too straightforward, so it's too predictable. And just like that, he calls out the attack and blocks it with pure speed. This isn't just a slugfest anymore. It's a battle of technique and strategy. Just when he thinks he has his opponent all figured out, flash. Something unexpected happens, and look at his face. Utter shock. Did his enemy have a hidden ace up his sleeve, or is something else going on? Meanwhile, the story cuts to two girls tied up in a storage room. The situation looks dire. One is blaming herself, while the other tries to keep her spirits up. They've clearly gotten into some serious trouble. And here comes the kidnapper, smugly asking who they think is going to come save them. The dark-haired girl tries to play it smart, attempting to flirt her way out of the situation. For effort, but it doesn't look like this guy is buying it. When flirting fails, the dude immediately resorts to insults. But she's not backing down. She starts bluffing, warning him about her boyfriend, claiming he's the scariest guy in the whole tournament. You go, girl. Speaking of scary boyfriends, we cut to some of Yusung's top dogs, just chilling at the beach. The contrast is hilarious and tense at the same time. While some are fighting for their lives, these guys are on vacation. This guy's nicknames? Iron Skin, Shameless, and Beast with a Human Face. Yeah, he's definitely not someone you want to mess with. And suddenly, he senses something is wrong. The mood just went from 0 to 100 real quick. He's the exact type of person you avoid at all costs. Does whatever he wants, doesn't care what anyone thinks. And if you dare to cross him, he will beat you into the ground without a second thought. But as dangerous as he is, the narration tells us his girlfriend is the real monster. This girl tries to call the cops, and just look at this, wham. He sent her flying with a single slap. The power is insane. No wonder they had to put up warning signs about them at the beach. This woman's fighting ability is just completely off the charts. She doesn't care about size differences. She'll take on anyone. The onlookers are stunned. They can't believe a girl can hit that hard. She's an absolute monster. And her partner is just as deadly, but with technique. A perfect, real-world judo flip sends his opponent crashing through a table. These two together are an unstoppable force of destruction. Cutting to another battlefield, the fight is just as intense. This orange-haired girl comes in with a flying kick, both graceful and deadly. And meanwhile, another key player just watches with a grin, as if this is all part of her plan. It's an all-out war with multiple factions clashing. We've got masked fighters making threats, and members of our study group trading heavy blows. But look at that smirk on our boy's face. He looks completely unfazed, brimming with confidence. You can see the rage in the red-haired kid's eyes. He's done holding back. He launches himself into a powerful kick with everything he's got. That's going to leave a mark for sure. Meanwhile, Gammon busts out his weapon of choice, a baton. Facing down his enemy, he's not scared at all. In fact, he's smiling, taunting him. You think they're going to follow you if you save them? Our boy knows how the world works. A new major player enters the scene. This guy is from the Taejun Alliance, a clan that controls more than half of the high school fighters. He's taken over 10 schools with his bare hands. And that brutal grab? Yeah, he's the real deal. Against such a formidable foe, Gammon unleashes a special technique he learned from his brother, the suspect takedown skill. The power is immense, slamming his opponent to the ground. The onlooker is in disbelief, realizing why this guy was recruited for big money. How can Yusung possibly beat monsters like this? But the enemies are endless. This girl shows up with a smug look, like she knew this would happen all along. And just like that, another brawl breaks out. Elbow strikes, kicks, it's nonstop action. This school is a literal war zone. And now, they're enacting their winning strategy. On the map app, a location marker with glasses, representing Gammon, is on the move. They're tracking him. Whatever they're planning, it's about to go down. Gammon's grand plan? It's simple, maybe a little cheesy. We'll wear our training outfits that day. He believes it'll make a difference. His friends are skeptical, calling him out on his weird logic, but you can tell they're intrigued by his unwavering conviction. Meanwhile, other crews in the school are busy planning their own public brawls. But someone watching from afar knows the truth about our study group. You don't know anything. These guys aren't fazed by anything. That's a heavy statement, hinting at a resilience others can't see. It turns out their strength comes from a shared painful past. We see a flashback of this girl, Sahayan, beaten and bruised. And Gammon was there for her, simply saying, "It's going to be fine." This deep bond, forged in hardship, is the source of their power. Even with no intel and no real strategy against his upcoming opponents, Gammon's plan is hilariously simple. Step 1, we fight. Step 2, we win. It's reckless, it's absurd, but you can't help but admire that pure, unfiltered confidence. Turns out, Gammon isn't going in completely blind after all. His friend Hee-won is working behind the scenes, sliding into another girl's DMs to gather intel on their rivals. The information war has begun, and the guy providing the intel, he's a total double-crosser. "I have no problem betraying bad guys like them," he says with a smirk. In this school, everyone is playing their own angle. You never know who you can really trust. Armed with new information, the fight changes. The red-haired kid lands a devastating blow, sending his opponent flying. That timing, that power, it's clear he's exploiting a weakness he just learned about. Gammon is surprised. His opponent, who he thought was just some random scrapper, knows escape techniques. He realizes everyone in this environment is constantly evolving. He can't afford to underestimate anyone. His opponent's escape techniques may be good, but Gammon has seen enough. He decides to end it with overwhelming power. He knows the next attack will be the final one. The opponent starts using the environment to his advantage, jumping all over the place, trying to disorient Gammon with his agility. His parkour-like movements are impressive, making it hard for Gammon to pin him down. "I'll be limited in the ring, but this is good." The opponent is clearly in his element in a street fight. He unleashes a series of brutal kicks, forcing Gammon on the defensive. The guys watching are impressed, commenting on the kid's slick duck and move technique. Meanwhile, the other guy, Chang Seong, is taking a lot of damage. But the redhead just smirks. That was a compliment, wasn't it? The confidence on this guy is just unreal. The fight devolves into a fierce, close-quarters exchange of blows. They're trading punches, neither giving an inch. Every impact reverberates with power. This is no longer about skill. It's a battle of pure will. "If you thought submission moves were the only weapons in my arsenal, you were dead wrong," he roars. And with that, he lands a vicious uppercut right on the jaw. That sickening crack says it all. And finally, the big boss makes his appearance. Nicknamed the Tyrant from the Taejun Alliance. Look at that intimidating presence, that utter contempt for his opponents. The study group is about to face its toughest challenge yet. Gammon calls them out, saying these so-called alliances don't know the first thing about what an alliance truly is. "That's not how you take over a school," he says with a confident smirk. "Our boy has his own code, his own philosophy. But his opponents have their own methods. They're filming his friends being held hostage, using it as leverage." The redhead taunts him, while the girl icily reminds him, "Should have kept your eyes on the fight." The tables have turned. Seeing them resort to such dirty tactics, Gammon is completely enraged. You can see the shock and fury in his eyes. His enemies keep taunting him, talking about their alliances and territories, trying to break his spirit. That rage translates directly into violence. The fight becomes even more brutal. Chokeholds, heavy punches to the head. Every move is lethal. The air is filled with screams of pain and the sound of cracking bones. It's a gruesome scene. Fueled by anger, the red-haired kid charges in recklessly. But his opponent is a step ahead, catching him with a perfectly timed kick that sends him crashing to the ground. Rage can give you power, but can also make you sloppy. But the study group isn't just about brute force. This guy unleashes the dragon kick of fury. What name? The move is as flashy as it is powerful, a spectacular aerial kick that looks like it could break concrete. The showmanship is on another level. But even with their incredible skills, they're outnumbered. Despite fighting with all their might, they're slowly being overwhelmed. Watching his friend get brutally taken down, the dark-haired kid looks exhausted and defeated. A mysterious new character with purple hair appears, a confident, almost wicked smile on his face. And then we get a flashback to a gun. "I did it because..." His past clearly holds a dark and violent secret. "I've always wanted to shoot a real gun." That twisted reasoning, combined with his maniacal smile, is genuinely terrifying. This is a seriously dangerous individual, and his arrival means things are about to get a whole lot worse. He's wearing a hoodie that says "rehabilitated," but his eyes tell a different story. They're full of defiance and rebellion. It seems he's made up his mind to fight against the world, no matter the cost. His story is just beginning. The purple-haired boy with the mismatched eyes runs into an old acquaintance, Sivan. His playful tone and creepy smile make it clear this is no friendly reunion. That flashback to the gun tells us there's some deadly history between them. And just as we thought, violence follows him everywhere. The flashback confirms his twisted desire to shoot a real gun, showing a complete disregard for human life. That clenched fist, it's a promise of more brutality to come. Facing this lunatic, Gammon's friends are in deep trouble. The enforcer is not only strong, but also a master of provocation. Our boy gets sent flying, screaming, "Shut the fuck up," but his anger seems futile against this overwhelming force. The purple-haired boy finds himself surrounded by thugs in suits, but he's completely unfazed. He's talking about revenge. Revenge is a dish best served cold. This guy knows the game, and he's playing for keeps. Cutting back to the stadium, it looks like a battle has just concluded. One boy is kneeling in defeat while the victor can barely stand, gasping for air. Whatever happened here, it was an absolutely grueling fight. The winner looks down on his defeated opponent with pure contempt, as if saying, "Someone like you?" The onlookers comment that while the loser has improved, his ego is still too big. It's the classic story of the strong preying on the weak in this school. The conversation shifts to someone named Young Hyun-ji, and the red-haired kid is shocked. He thought that guy was okay after keeping his promise at the abandoned factory. Clearly, he was wrong. Things are way more dangerous and complicated than he realized. The gray-haired kid has been running in circles to avoid a fight, and the redhead calls him out on it. But he fires back. "You said I wouldn't have to fight if we beat 3 opponents. Ah, so there was a deal in place." As they're arguing, some shocking news drops. Manhwa, a key figure, is here, and he's being chased by a mob. Gammon is floored. This is the last person he ever expected to see again. Without a second thought, the red-haired kid leaps from the high ground and dives straight into the chaos. The battle erupts again, a visceral clash of fists and bone. The brutality is off the charts. On the other side of the fight, the blonde girl gets involved. She grabs a guy by the collar and slams him into the ground with incredible force. This girl's power is absolutely insane. She fights just as hard as any of the guys. She's not just strong, she's smart. Doesn't matter how big you are. Everyone's weak spots hurt the same. She targets vital points, using technique to overcome the size difference and completely neutralize her opponent. But she's shocked to find that even after hitting 5 or 6 of his vital points, her opponent is still standing. The guy's durability is monstrous. She realizes she can't hold back anymore. The purple-haired boy finally makes his move. His intimidating gaze is enough to paralyze his foe with fear. And then comes the attack, a devastating punch delivered with overwhelming force that feels like it could shatter reality itself. This new muscle-bound opponent is introduced. He's infamous in Gangnam for fighting with pure brute strength and zero technique. When called out for destroying property, he just coldly replies, "That's none of my business." This guy believes in one thing only: power. When the orange-haired girl confronts him, he answers with his fists. He throws a heavy punch, aiming to silence her. Violence is his one and only solution to every problem. Cutting to another scene, a different powerhouse makes his entrance by brutally slamming a kid into the ground. The visual is pure violent artistry. Meanwhile, another member of our study group looks on with rage, his own nickname about to be revealed. The force of that punch literally cracks the ground. The blonde kid is left broken and bleeding on the floor, unable to move. And just when you think it's over, a hand grabs him by the hair. The torture is just beginning. There's a deep-seated hatred between these two. I hate motherfuckers like you who try to force your way with brute strength. You think you can coast through life with just your fists, don't you? This isn't just a fight, it's a clash of ideologies. He repeatedly slaps the blonde girl, trying to break her spirit. Sooner or later, they're going to find out how frightening the world can be. It's both physical and psychological torment, designed to crush her will. And the bystanders? They're not helping. They're filming it, making cruel jokes. How many times is he going to slap her? I hope her eyes don't pop out. This casual cruelty and apathy in the face of violence is almost more chilling than the act itself. The bully preaches his twisted philosophy. Why would the strong care what the weak think? To him, the strong have the right to crush anyone who gets in their way. It's the law of the jungle, and he's the apex predator. He continues his tirade, grabbing her by the hair, trying to drill his terrifying worldview into her head. The sense of oppression and hopelessness in this scene is suffocating. But just when all hope seems lost, a savior arrives. Another member of the study group jumps in with some incredible MMA skills, completely turning the tide. A spectacular MMA-style flying armbar followed by a real-world judo throw. The execution is flawless. The blonde girl gets her revenge, pinning her attacker down. Divided by strength, she pants, that's the worst way, cause it's so easy to flip to the other side. She proves with her own power that the roles of strong and weak can be reversed in an instant. Elsewhere, seeing his friends fight so hard ignites a fire in the other blonde kid. He clenches his fist, knuckles cracking, determination burning in his eyes. I must end the fight before Han will pie. His sense of duty to the team is pushing him to a new level. A new fight kicks off, and the gray-haired kid's punches feel heavier than before. His opponent notices the change. Feeling more strength in your punches, he remarks. Our boy just smirks back. 'Cause we beat all your ringers? The confidence is off the charts. The orange-haired girl starts breaking down the members of the study group. These guys seem like nerds, she says, but they're all monsters. She mentions the judo girl who has surpassed all limits, and the rock star with as much potential as his fame. She knows they're not to be underestimated. And then there's their leader, Gamin Yoon, trained by a monster and known as the official #1 of the gangster school. But what truly sets them apart, she explains, is that they're constantly fighting people stronger than themselves. They've been testing their limits again and again until they eventually win. This relentless pursuit of growth makes any initial power difference at the start of a fight meaningless. They just don't know how to quit. And from the moment they get a read on you, it's over. The blonde kid flashes a wicked grin, his eyes saying, I've seen everything you've got, and it's not enough. Same goes for the gray-haired kid. He calmly dodges, then counters with a spectacular inverted kick right to the face. You want me to do what about it? He says, dripping with the casual disdain of someone who knows he's in complete control. Gamin's knee strike is a thing of beauty, fast, precise, and brutal. He drives it straight into his opponent, bringing the big guy to his knees. Every attack is explosive and perfectly aimed, giving his enemy no room to breathe. Meanwhile, the purple-haired guy adjusts his glasses with a confident smile. He's decided to hone the skills of the motherland. It sounds like he's about to unleash his true, authentic fighting style. And what is that skill? Pencak Silat, an Indonesian martial art. He stands in a perfect stance, and with one swift strike, his opponent is already staggering back. This ancient art is devastating in his hands. The blonde kid lands a clean kick and taunts his opponent, getting a little tired. But the silver-haired guy just smirks. This was just a warm-up for him. The mind games between these top-tier fighters are just as intense as the physical blows. There's no need to run your mouth in a fight, the brown-haired kid scoffs. But the gray-haired kid answers with action, using a Pencak Silat half-python move to use his opponent's own body weight against him, plunging him to the ground. The first move of the half-python is described as having the force of a bowling ball dropped from 9 feet. Gamin lands the punch directly over his opponent's heart, and the impact is absolutely explosive. The opponent lets out a guttural scream of pure agony. That single blow was devastating. In Yusung Hai, fights are brutal and unforgiving. It's a matter of survival. The gray-haired kid completely snaps. He roars that his last loss was only because of a trap, then unleashes his full power, grabbing and squeezing his opponent. This time, he's going to prove his strength. No tricks, no excuses. Every single person in this fight is pushing themselves to their absolute limit. Whether they're on the winning or losing end, they're all declaring war on their own weaknesses and the cruel world around them. But the enemy's tactics sink even lower. The blonde boss dangles a hostage over the railing, taunting, "Did you think you could run from me forever?" This dirty move puts our heroes in an impossible situation. And to make matters worse, this whole violent spectacle is being live-streamed. People in the chat are casually commenting, some even complaining that the fight was lame. The cold detachment of the internet audience is chilling. The red-haired woman is pushed to her breaking point, screaming that she's going to kill him. But with a hostage's life on the line, she's powerless, forced to watch as her friend is tormented. Seeing their friends in danger pushes everyone to their absolute edge. They can't let them be sacrificed. In a desperate surge, they unleash their remaining potential, fighting to protect their own. In this desperate moment, Gamin remembers his friend's simple words, "Don't lose." That small piece of encouragement becomes his anchor. Even when things seem hopeless, he has to keep fighting for the people who believe in him. Just then, another player enters the game. This silver-haired guy with a cigarette and a devilish smile seems to know everything that's going on. He reveals that other fronts are also descending into chaos. The plot just got a whole lot thicker. Back with the kidnapped girls, the situation is escalating. The dark-haired girl is being brutally slapped and verbally abused, called a traitor bitch. The physical and emotional torture is just sadistic. Her wrists are bound so tightly they're bleeding, but there's still defiance in her eyes. The kidnapper coldly remarks, "I guess this one doesn't understand the situation yet." The threat hangs heavy in the air. The kidnapper drops all pretense and reveals his true, violent nature. He threatens to beat them up as a couple and declares he won't be holding anything back. Looking at that clenched fist, you know a brutal fight is unavoidable. Everyone's anger, frustration, struggle, and determination all converge in this single moment. With a final, explosive slam, all the conflicts erupt at once. This is more than just a physical clash. It's the ultimate showdown of wills and beliefs. In the nick of time, the door gets kicked wide open. The sheer force sends the goon on the other side flying. You can see the terror and relief on the girls' faces. The cavalry has arrived, and not a moment too soon. And who's the hero? It's Gammon. He sees the marks on the girl's face, and his entire demeanor shifts. That one question, "Your face?" is loaded with concern and barely suppressed rage. Someone messed with his people, and they are about to pay dearly. Just when we were bracing for an all-out brawl, the scene cuts abruptly to an airport, and the final boarding call is for Gammon Yun heading to Los Angeles. Hold on, our boy was radiating killer intent a second ago, and now he's skipping town? And who's this intense-looking dude? What is even happening right now? Okay, let's put a pin in that airport mystery for now, because we're jumping right back into the rescue mission. Turns out, things were worse than we thought. Gammon's friend was tied up, barely snapping free just in time. And how did our boy find him in this mess? Simple. You didn't pick up, so I tracked you. Cold, efficient, and exactly the hero they needed. Meanwhile, another player joins the scene, dragging his luggage toward the stadium based on the same tracking app. Seems like the app's not exactly pinpoint accurate. And look who's already there. Some guy in a suit who looks absolutely done with his life. Why the fuck am I babysitting these high schoolers? We feel you, man. We really do. And speak of the devil, our boy Gammon finally makes it to the stadium. He politely asks the suit about his friend's whereabouts. The guy's memory clicks, and he blurts out, "Oh, isn't she the girl we locked away earlier?" Dude, you don't just say the quiet part out loud. And now he's getting aggressive? Big mistake. Huge. Trying to lay a hand on Gammon? Not happening. Our boy deflects the grab with lightning speed, and then, slam, the suit is eating the floor. That was clean, fast, and totally brutal. He asked nicely once. He's not asking again. Look at the sheer rage on this guy's face versus Gammon's stone-cold, unimpressed stare. The power gap is insane. A moment later, Gammon's already found the girls. One of them is stunned. He just told you? Yeah, he did. After a little persuasion, of course. But the reunion is cut short as the plot thickens. Gammon drops a bombshell. The guy who took Ms. Lee's phone, the son of a bitch they've been looking for, is Hyungji and you. The moment that name is spoken, you can see on the blonde girl's face that this goes way deeper than they imagined. Time is running out. The study group is in danger. The girls are ready to roll, but Gammon has other plans. I gotta take care of some shit first. Classic protagonist move, always taking the solo route for the big boss fight. You just know he's about to do something crazy. Meanwhile, at this so-called fighting tournament, it's absolute chaos. We're talking chokeholds, people getting their hair pulled out. Total savagery. The thugs from Yusung High are living up to their reputation, showing zero mercy. And there he is. Gammon makes his entrance, dropping a dude with a single, brutal hit. He calmly adjusts his glasses, not even fazed. The guy on the floor is still trying to talk tough, though. Quit it with the hostage-taking. And face me like a real man. Bro, you're literally on the ground. Read the room. Gammon, with a bit of blood on his lip, just smirks. You think I'm ashamed of what I'm doing? Before the guy can answer, BM, another punch lands. Gammon grabs him, screaming, "What the hell happened to you? This isn't just a fight anymore. It's personal. There's real history and pain here." And now we see the bigger picture. This was all a setup. One of the guys was used as bait to lure his friend, Min Seong, into a trap. Look at the agony and betrayal on his face. In this school, getting stabbed in the back is more dangerous than any punch. A new challenger appears. This blue-haired guy strolls in with a confident smirk, dropping philosophical lines like, "Our true colors shine when we're alone." Real deep, dude. And as he says it, we cut to Gammon getting absolutely stomped. The contrast is brutal. The sheer brutality is off the charts. You can almost feel the guttural rage in that scream. And then, crack, a devastating blow sends another fighter flying. This isn't a schoolyard scuffle. This is a war zone. Even our boy Gammon is feeling the heat after that last fight. He's exhausted, but a realization dawns on him. In the end, the strongest create their own wins. Just as he's processing this, he gets some shocking news. Hanwell is in the tournament. Gammon's face says it all. This changes everything. The plot thickens outside the ring. It seems Gammon's spot was taken by Hanwell, and some shadowy figure is pulling the strings, smirking like he's already won. Everyone's got their own agenda, and the situation is getting more tangled by the second. The mind games are in full swing. Someone claims Hanwell won't care about his teammate being taken hostage, a clear attempt to rattle him. Meanwhile, the blonde fighter is taking a vicious beating, and the mastermind in the glasses is just sitting back, smoking and smiling, promising to make his enemy's life a living hell. These guys are playing for keeps. The white-haired dude gets slammed into the fence and slumps to the ground, completely out of it. The score is now tied 2-2, and the guy in black, he just gives a cold, backward glance, completely unfazed. It all comes down to this. The final match is about to begin. And there it is, the dirtiest trick in the book. The backup plan was to take the spiky-haired kid hostage all along. Just when you think things can't get more desperate, they stoop to a new low. The tension is palpable. But wait, a figure leaps from above. Just when the villains thought they had it in the bag, Gammon drops in from out of nowhere. "I've been waiting," he says, cool as ever. The hero has arrived, and the tables are about to turn. He leaps through the air, aiming straight for the blonde goon holding his friend hostage. For this exact moment, his eyes are burning with determination. This isn't just a rescue. This is him taking back control of the entire game. The sudden chaos sends everyone flying. Gammon and his friend are thrown to the ground amidst the sound of shattering glass. The sheer force of that impact is insane. What the hell just happened? The blonde announcer is freaking out, screaming into the mic. But look at the girl running beside him. Her expression is cold, determined, with a hint of a smirk. She knows something we don't. This chaos wasn't an accident. In the nick of time, she catches him. Our boy Gammon was about to face a nasty fall, but Hankyong grabs him midair. You can see the pure shock on his face. He was inches from disaster. Talk about a clutch save. Gammon wastes no time, grabbing the mastermind by the collar. "So you're behind all this?" The accusation hangs in the air, thick with tension. The moment of truth is finally here. The tournament is over. Team Yusung wins, 3-2. But instead of celebrating, the man in charge is losing his mind, screaming to cut the live feed. This victory clearly wasn't the one he planned, and now everything is spiraling out of his control. The roar of the crowd is deafening, a stark contrast to the agony on Gammon's face. He grits his teeth, remembering his friend's plea. Don't lose. He's fighting not just for himself, but for a promise. The weight on his shoulders, symbolized by those glasses, is immense. Flashback to a physical fitness test. Gammon is being chased down, but then he just explodes with speed, leaving everyone in the dust. Even back then, he was confronting the same guy, asking the same question. "So you're behind all this?" This conspiracy has been brewing for a long time. Gammon is seething, but his opponent just smirks. "I knew it." When the others arrive to find the blonde kid knocked out and Gammon standing there, they're completely confused. Little do they know, the real puppet master is watching from the shadows, enjoying the chaos he created. The announcer, now acting as a judge, gets right in Gammon's face, screaming about an unregistered fighter interfering. Gammon tries to explain about the hostage situation, but he's immediately shut down. This guy doesn't care about fairness. He's just pissed his rigged game got ruined. A flashback reveals a promise was made. "If we win, you'll leave the other schools alone." A promise that now means absolutely nothing. As his opponent demands he correct the outcome, the memory feels like a bitter joke. All that talk of honor was just a lie. As everyone else scrambles to escape the chaos, one person stands against the tide. It's our boy Gammon. He clenches his fists, his back to the fleeing crowd, ready to face the storm alone. That's the presence of a true main character. A massive crash sends bodies flying as Gammon makes his move. The impact is huge. Surrounded by enemies, he stares them down and speaks a name, Ling Yun, before declaring, "I have no intention of playing by your rules." He's done being a pawn. He's rewriting the entire game. And suddenly, we get a glimpse into his painful past. An abusive father, a helpless mother, and a heartbreaking question, is this where we're going to live? This explains everything. His desperate drive to study, to succeed, it's all rooted in this trauma. He's fighting for a better life he never had. And so the fight begins. As the thugs charge, Gammon puts on his shades and goes into beast mode. A powerful spinning kick sends his opponents flying, a perfect fusion of power and technique. He's making it clear, stay out of his way. Gammon's attacks are relentless, each blow fueled by pure rage and determination. He takes his opponent down, pins him with his knee, and delivers another crushing punch. Look at that ferocious expression. he's completely unleashed. Another brutal punch sends his opponent's glasses flying. The other students are scattering in terror. That massive crack isn't just the sound of impact, it's the sound of Gammon's will breaking through. Gammon moves with blinding speed. Before his target can even react, he's caught in a half-python hold. Got him! The look of pure shock and pain on the guy's face says it all. He never stood a chance. In a flash, Gammon evades and prepares to counter. He's moving so fast he's just a blur, every motion packed with explosive power. This is the skill of a top-tier fighter on full display. Gammon's performance was so unbelievable that everyone who witnessed it later wondered if they'd experienced a collective false memory. They all swore they saw the same impossible thing. That's how you know someone is on a completely different level. His fighting skills are literally reality-bending. To the terrified onlookers, it looked like he was flying. Every leap, every descent was filled with a powerful grace, as if he were defying gravity itself. He wasn't just fighting, he was putting on a display of brutal artistry. He lands with a heavy thud, the fight seemingly over. But as the dust settles, there's only silence. Gammon looks up, confused. He just pulled off an incredible feat, but everyone is just staring, frozen. The atmosphere is incredibly eerie. And just like that, the spell is broken. Everyone snaps out of it, and they're suddenly united again against Gammon. Turns out the quietest kid in class was the real target all along. Wait, he yells, realizing too late that he's walked right into a massive trap. The humiliation continues as someone pours a bottle of liquid over his head. That's the last straw. Gammon is done holding back. He explodes, launching himself into the crowd and taking on everyone at once. The hallway erupts into a full-blown, chaotic brawl. His fists are a blur, each punch landing with precision and brutal force. He's in the zone now, unleashing all the power he usually keeps locked away. He kicks one guy into the air and stomps another into the ground. Gammon is completely dominating this fight, showing everyone what happens when you try to bully him with numbers. It's not going to work. Another attacker tries to ambush him from above, but Gammon is one step ahead. The look of pure terror on the guy's face as he gets kicked out of the air says it all. Gammon's counter was just too fast, too unexpected. Even the announcer is losing his mind over this, shouting out nicknames for Gammon as he watches the carnage. Kimona, Unbreakable, Dominator, Tyrant. Yeah, all of those seem pretty fitting right now. The fight is over. Gammon stands alone amidst the fallen, clenching his bruised fist. He's beaten up, but his spirit is unbroken. The announcer, completely captivated, declares, "There's no two ways around it. This kid is." The sentence hangs, leaving us all in suspense. Just as things seem to be wrapping up, a far more dangerous presence arrives outside the stadium. With a wicked grin and sharp teeth gleaming in the moonlight, he asks, "Are things hot in there?" The real trouble is just getting started. This new enemy is on another level. Gammon immediately finds himself in a tough spot, getting rocked by a heavy punch that leaves him stunned. Even the suit watching from the side is impressed, muttering how Gammon is holding his own against so many men. The numbers are overwhelming, and the attacks are getting more vicious. Gammon is outnumbered and gets taken down hard. They even mark him with the word debilitated. The disrespect is off the charts. Even with a potentially broken rib, Gammon refuses to give up. He grips his attacker's hand, his eyes still burning with defiance despite the pain. The purple-haired guy just loses it, screaming as he rains down punches on our boy. But just in the nick of time, reinforcements arrive. A long-haired dude comes out of nowhere and headbutts the purple-haired attacker, sending him flying. He stands protectively over Gammon and declares, "I'm here to help my student council president." Talk about a heroic entrance. Of course, these thugs have no honor. They immediately swarm the newcomer, the purple-haired president, calling him human trash while beating him down. Even the blonde girl, who's been watching coolly from the sidelines, now looks concerned. The situation is getting ugly. It turns out this is all part of a larger plot by another faction aiming to kill him. But even surrounded by weapon-wielding enemies, the purple-haired president doesn't flinch. He readies his stance. A brutal fight is about to go down. The president scoffs at their tactics while telling his companion not to get hurt for his sake. Look at that confident grin. He's completely unfazed by the thugs surrounding him. That level of self-assurance is just badass. Meanwhile, a kid in a red bandana is also surrounded, but he's defiant, shouting, "I ain't scared." Just as the knives are about to find their mark, the president flies in with a massive kick, taking out 3 guys at once to save him. What clutch player! But the danger isn't over. Elsewhere, a pink-haired kid has a knife to his throat, his life hanging by a thread. At the same time, the blonde and black-haired girls finally meet up, but the reunion is anything but warm. The tension between them is so thick you could cut it with a knife. The blonde girl reveals she just beat a guy half to death, but ultimately let him live. Now, she's guarding the only exit, waiting for the phone guy to walk right into her trap. Her methods are brutal, but you can't deny she's smart. Just as they're facing off, Gammon appears out of nowhere. A group of fanboys instantly swarm him, begging for a picture. Our boy is completely bewildered. What the? Looks like his performance in the tournament made him a local celebrity overnight. On the other side, the leader of Chungma High is giving his crew a reality check. Their top guys are already down, and there's no point getting beaten up for pride. He reveals their real goal was never to win the tournament, but to make a fortune hosting it. These guys aren't fighters, they're businessmen. Just as they're about to slip away with the money, a massive boom rips through the night. It seems getting out of this war zone with a clean getaway was never going to be that easy. Gammon shouts to his teacher that he's okay, but the situation is grim. His friends are falling one by one, and in the corner, the two girls can only huddle together in fear. The scene is just heartbreakingly desperate. A mysterious man, introduced as a rookie, makes his grand entrance by stomping Gammon into the ground. The sheer dominance is terrifying. As our boy struggles, he screams the man's name, Ren. This newcomer is clearly a major threat, and his power level is off the charts. Seeing his disciple being humiliated like this sends the teacher into a blind rage. How dare they turn my cute little disciple into an object of mockery? He roars, absolutely furious. You can feel the protective instinct kicking in. He's not just a teacher, he's family. Things go from bad to worse in an instant. The enemies start pouring gasoline everywhere, intending to burn the place down with everyone inside. Whoever remains here shall die. Panic erupts as the students scramble for their lives. This has turned into a literal hell on earth. The mastermind lays out the options in a chillingly calm voice. Burn to death, or get to the exit through me. He's forcing them into a desperate choice, a trial by fire. It's a fight for survival in its purest form. Faced with this impossible situation, Gammon's friend starts to break down. He never imagined the enemy would go this far. Then what does that make me? He thinks, a kid who went whining to the adults. This crisis is testing not just their strength, but their very spirit. This whole nightmare, it turns out, is a forbidden tactic. The enemy boss is completely unhinged, screaming, "If you want to deal with the Yakuza, you should have prepared for something like this." He's going to make an example out of them, using the most extreme methods possible. First move, one-sided beating. And they aren't kidding. The enemy unleashes a furious barrage of attacks, completely overwhelming the purple-haired kid. The power difference is staggering. It's a total beatdown. Every punch from the enemy is aimed at a vital point, but Gammon retaliates with even more ferocity. He launches a devastating kick, and with a sickening crack, sends a guy flying. Fighting fire with fire, that's Gammon's way. His teammates are down, the fire is spreading, and everyone is counting on Gammon to face this monster. The pressure is immense. He's strong, but you can see the toll it's taking. At the end of the day, he's still just a high school kid fighting for his life. The enemy's patience has run out. It's going to take too long, he roars, ready to end this quickly and brutally. With the flames closing in, time is a luxury Gammon no longer has. In the chaos of the fight, Gammon takes a hit, but his opponent is also reeling, rubbing his eyes in pain. It seems our boy managed to throw something at him. Even on the defensive, Gammon is always looking for an opening, any chance to turn the tables. And now the two big shots finally face off. Red Hair grabs Silver Hair by the collar, absolutely furious. But even beaten and bruised, the silver-haired guy just gives a mocking smirk. The air crackles with tension. A clash of titans is about to begin. Surrounded by flames, the two boys stand back to back, resolved to fight together until the very end. The enemy looms behind them, but there's no fear in their eyes, only defiance. This is it. Study Group Season 2, Meteor Bombing. The hype is real. Outside, their friends watch the inferno, completely helpless and terrified. But inside, the white-haired demon just smirks, as if the fire is part of his grand design. And high above, someone is laughing manically, reveling in the chaos. This is pure insanity. The blonde fighter's attack is vicious, a savage punch that contorts his opponent's face. He looms over the fallen Hanwol and says coldly, "I should finish you off now." The killing intent is so raw, it's chilling. Silverhair remembers his promise to help them win, but he realizes that if he doesn't act now, Spiky Head is going to get seriously hurt. He's fighting for his friend, and from the rage in his eyes, you can tell he's about to go all out. With a single punch, the blonde kid sends his opponent crashing through glass, leaving him slumped on the floor. The fight is over in an instant. He just stands there silently, as if it was nothing. His power is on a completely different level. It's over, he declares, a hint of exhaustion in his voice. He never thought he'd do something like this. And as he whispers Hamilpai's name, we're left wondering what that mysterious thing he said at the end was. In a flashback, we see a whispered conversation, a plan being hatched. Now, in the present, facing the raging fire, the brown-haired boy takes charge. His priority is getting everyone, the spectators, the students, out safely. That determined look in his eyes, that's a true leader. But the enemy they face is none other than Gammon, the ghost of the Fukuga cookie. A flashback to the bloodbath of Osaka reveals just how terrifying this man is. This isn't a high school fight anymore. This is a battle against a literal demon. This man single-handedly killed 31 people and injured 107 more. He just sat there, amidst a sea of bodies, completely devoid of emotion. Just hearing the story is enough to make a hardened gangster bleed from the mouth in shock. That's how terrifying he is. With his bloody blade in hand, he asks, "Did you think you could defeat me?" But when the silver-haired kid hears about his reputation, he doesn't flinch. Instead, he smirks. Is this the excitement of meeting a worthy rival, or the recklessness of youth? The brown-haired kid thinks to himself, if I was going to live a life of compromises, I wouldn't be here in the first place. But before he can even finish the thought, the silver-haired kid attacks him. A sudden, shocking betrayal. The brown-haired kid counters with a powerful kick, sending his opponent flying. The impact is so massive it sends them both reeling. Amidst the raging fire, this fight between former allies is just brutal and tragic. The attacker's face twists into a crazed expression as he drives his knee into the silver-haired kid's chest. He coughs up blood and falls, but you can still see the unbroken will in his eyes. This battle is a true test of endurance. Both boys are at their limit, covered in wounds and gasping for air. But even now, they refuse to back down. They're fighting for what they believe in, and they'll keep going until one of them can't stand anymore. The enemy is absolutely enraged. "You rat bastards! You treat me like a pig!" he screams. In his fury, he unleashes an insane amount of power, shattering the silver-haired kid with a single punch. That kind of strength is monstrous. The brown-haired man watches his former ally get knocked out with a single punch, and he smirks. So that was his plan? They thought they could win with speed, but they completely underestimated his power. The look of utter shock on the silver-haired kid's face as he goes down is devastating. This masked man in purple possesses supernatural speed. He drops from the ceiling, pinning the white-haired kid down before he can even blink. And that twisted, inhuman smile, it's the stuff of nightmares. Are you proud of yourself for defeating Ron? With that roar of accusation, another massive impact rocks the battlefield. It seems Ren was a bigger deal than we thought, and now his friends are here for revenge. Disaster strikes. The support beams overhead suddenly give way, creaking ominously. The gray-haired kid is trapped underneath, unable to move, his face a mask of pure terror. As if things weren't bad enough, the battlefield itself is now collapsing. The brown-haired man and the young kid team up to lift the heavy beam, but the enemy attacks from behind, slamming it back down with all his might. He's not just stopping the rescue. He's trying to crush the person trapped beneath. This is it, Uncle's forbidden tactic, second move. The brown-haired kid launches himself with a flying kick, then follows up by slamming his own head into the ground, creating a massive shockwave. He's using a self-destructive move to create an opening for his friends. And Gammon unleashes his own special move, unfair play. He's abandoning formal techniques, using whatever it takes to hit his opponent. This one punch carries all his anger and determination. With a deafening boom, the enemy is sent flying. The area is devastated. Seizing the opportunity created by their friend's sacrifice, the two boys make a desperate sprint for the exit. This is their one chance to escape, and they're taking it. The silver-haired and brown-haired kids fight with perfect synergy, one attacking from the air while the other provides support on the ground. Together, they manage to take down the formidable blonde enemy. Looking at his unconscious form, they know they've won this brutal battle. The three boys combine their strength to finally bring down the black-haired enemy. All the while, the gray-haired guy with the cigarette just watches calmly, as if he knew this would happen all along. His composure is almost unsettling. A brutal punch caves the enemy's head in. As flames rage in the background, the man in the suit lights a cigarette and speaks coolly. "You kids now have something to talk about. You managed to corner Kenichi Matsuyama of the Fukuga cookie." He's declaring his victory in the most chilling way possible. He continues his monologue, making a chilling threat. Will YB still want to do business with us after I beat the shit out of their boss's son? It's a blatant challenge, a declaration of war. He tosses the microphone to the bloodied blonde announcer on the floor and gives his final ultimatum. If I catch any of you running away, I'll make your death even more painful. In this inferno, he is the undisputed king. But even on the ground, beaten and broken, the silver-haired kid fires back with defiance. Huh, so the great young boss of YB wants to go out talking shit, he scoffs. You just pissed off the wrong person. Even at his lowest point, his pride is unshakable. The ghost of the Fukuga cookie, Kenichi Matsuyama, poses a question to the boy before him. Are you ready to experience a bigger world? It's both an invitation and a threat. And we learn that Uncle's forbidden tactic still has more moves yet to be revealed. The 10th move. Its name is Jun Fan, Bruce Lee's birth name. The name itself signifies the pinnacle of martial arts and an unbreakable spirit. The final, ultimate showdown is about to happen. Late at night, an unexpected call comes in for Gammon's mother. It's from her other son, Jiango, whom she hasn't spoken to in a long time. This late-night call shatters the peace and is about to dredge up a long-buried past. It turns out Jiango has been pursuing something secretly, something related to Gammon. He tells his mother, Gammon said that, but the line cuts off, leaving us hanging. The narrative jumps between a tense phone call in a car at night and a shocked reaction in a cafe during the day, making the mystery even more compelling. Back in the Inferno, the main villain is still ranting like a madman. The fire is spreading faster than anyone anticipated, trapping them all. Gammon is filled with anger and self-blame. This entire nightmare is because of one lunatic. But the brown-haired kid just smirks at the villain, thinking he probably doesn't know he's about to meet his match. And right on cue, Gammon appears before the enemy, bloodied but resolute. The true ace is finally stepping onto the field. Facing this monster, Gammon's gaze remains unwavering. But the villain, upon seeing Gammon's expression, has a near imperceptible twitch in his eye. In a battle between masters, the fight is often won or lost in that first exchange of glances. The narrator explains that this spirit isn't just simple willpower. It's a silent, terrifying aura of danger, a presence that only true masters of combat possess. And right now, Gammon is radiating it. Countless opponents have backed down from a fight against him, defeated by this spirit alone. It's an aura forged in countless life-or-death battles. No matter the place, outdoors, in a classroom, or down a hallway, he has never once faltered. Intimidated by Gammon's presence, the villain actually orders his men to retreat. The place instantly descends into chaos as everyone makes a mad dash for the exit. Gammon is left standing there, utterly stunned. This is not the epic showdown he was prepared for. Even the villain himself loses his cool, screaming, "Have they all lost their goddamn minds?" before joining the stampede. Gammon and his teacher can only watch in disbelief as their climactic battle turns into a chaotic farce. Gammon's friends are struggling to survive in the fire, with one of them pinned down by the huge enemy. They hope the fire would make him retreat, but he's relentless. The thought crosses their mind. If only Hamill were here, they might have stood a chance together. But there are no what-ifs in a fight for your life. The villain taunts him. So, you don't want anyone to die here, is that it? Gammon doesn't answer with words, but with actions. He lifts his injured comrade, determined to save everyone, even as the flames close in. That is true strength. Bleeding and battered, Gammon still manages to say, "Don't worry." But his opponent has had enough. He raises his hand, preparing to deliver the final blow. Silhouetted against the fire, this final confrontation feels epic and tragic. Let me pop those disrespectful eyes of yours. The enemy's attack is a blur of motion, pure killing intent. Gammon is forced onto the defensive, and the blood trickling from his mouth shows he's taken a heavy hit. A massive shockwave erupts, and a masked head goes flying. In a moment of desperation, Gammon used his friend's body as a shield to block the fatal blow. He saved himself, but at what cost? The force of that last attack was so strong, it killed his friend instantly. Gammon, horrified by what just happened, turns and runs. Just then, a jacked blonde dude leaps into the fray from above. The battlefield is pure, uncontrolled chaos. We cut back to the present, where Gammon's uncle is lying in a hospital bed, groaning in pain. It turns out that whole brutal fight was just a sparring session between them. The doctor says he's not dying, but he might if he doesn't get treated. These two take their training way too seriously. The teacher rushes to the ER, fearing the worst. The uncle tries to lie, saying he just fell, but our honest boy Gammon immediately rats him out. Actually, we were sparring, and I hit him. The uncle is furious in the background. You punk ass. I told you not to tell her. This family is hilarious. Seeing her brother beaten up by her own son sends Gammon's mom over the edge. She grabs her brother by the collar, screaming, "What the hell have you been teaching my son?" Her anger is a mix of frustration with her brother and deep concern for her child. The uncle's injuries are severe, a ruptured organ from a massive blow to the abdomen. His sister coldly informs him that paying his hospital bill will be the last thing she does for him as a sister. "You never come around my house again." Ouch, that's harsh. Gammon apologizes to his uncle, but the uncle is more worried if his sister was serious. Gammon tries to take the blame, explaining he begged his uncle to teach him, but his mom cuts him off. As they leave, the uncle desperately calls out his name, not wanting this to be the end. We learn the truth about the forbidden 10th move. It's not to be used on anyone. It's too lethal and isn't even Jeet Kune Do. And why didn't Gammon fight the way his uncle taught him? Because he believed that to surpass his master, he couldn't just copy his master's style. The uncle reflects on Gammon's talent. He abandoned Jeet Kune Do to defeat Jeet Kune Do. He momentarily stepped outside the rules, abandoning all form, just to win. That kind of raw, natural talent is truly terrifying. He instinctively went into attack mode, driven by the singular goal of destroying what was in front of him. That brutal stomp wasn't technique. It was pure, primal instinct. He met lawfulness with lawlessness, finite with infinite. This fighting philosophy transcends mere technique. It's a battle of mindsets. Gammon finally has his epiphany. True Jeet Kune Do isn't about practicing one-inch punches. It's about abandoning the form to focus solely on defeating your opponent as the human, Gammon Yun, and in doing so, aligning your mindset even more with the art. He found the true path. Flashing back to the airport, faced with his father's offer, Gammon finally gives his answer. "Dad, I'm sorry, but I can't." He's made his choice for his dream and for his family. His father, once Korea's best surgeon, gave up everything for his family. Now he's asking Gammon to give up his exams in Korea and start a new life abroad. It sounds like a great offer, but for Gammon, it feels like running away. His father rebelled against his family by giving everything up and wandering the world. But Gammon looks at his father's life and understands a hard truth. Giving up might make things easier, but it doesn't make you happy. He remembers his friend's advice, rebel a little and be stubborn sometimes. And so, he tells his father, "Think of this as my first act of rebellion." He's done following others' paths. He's making his own. "I will go to college here in Korea, and I will make sure everyone in our family is happy. I'm not going to compromise or give up on anything." Hearing her son's powerful declaration, his mother sheds a tear of pride. Her sweet little boy has finally become a man. Gammon knows that happiness isn't just about being together. It's about how you live your life. There's a long way to go, but he's ready. As the title card, Uncle's Forbidden Tactic, 10th Move, appears, we know the real fight is just beginning. Jun Fan, which means to pluck out the fence, to break free. It's not just Bruce Lee's name, it's Gammon's new philosophy. He's going to tear down every barrier and forge his own path. And we pick right back up on that powerful moment. Our boy, Gammon, laying it all out for his mom. He's going to college right here in Korea, and he's going to make damn sure his family's happy. Look at her, tearing up with pride. Her sweet little boy is all grown up. He knows happiness isn't just about being together. It's about the quality of life they lead. Such a profound thought from our boy. But while he's having this heartwarming realization, bam, we're thrown right into the brutal reality. The uncle's forbidden 10th move is unleashed, and it is absolutely savage. And here we go. The title card says it all. Jun Fan, plucking out the fence, breaking free. It's Bruce Lee's birth name, and it's Gammon's new mantra. And the subtitle for this season? Meteor bombing. Yeah, this is going to be explosive. The fight is already insane, fire everywhere. But something's different about Gammon. As the opponent notes, these moves are completely different. There's no technique to them. This is pure, raw, instinctual power. He's unlocked Jun Fan mode, and he is just relentless. A brutal face punch, a flying kick that sends his opponent soaring, and a gut-wrenching stomach punch. He's not holding anything back. This is a straight-up beatdown, the Jun Fan style in full, terrifying effect. My God, look at this merciless beating. It's just a blur of fists, THWAP, THWAP, THWAP. He's not even giving the guy a chance to breathe. The raw power is just off the charts, cracking the very ground beneath him. Oh no, his teacher, Sensei, just took a brutal hit. And that was the trigger. Look at Gammon's face, pure, unadulterated rage. He absolutely snaps and unleashes hell on the guy who did it. You son of a... But that rage-fueled attack came at a cost. Our boy is seriously injured. He's stumbling through the flames, coughing up blood, barely able to stand. He knows his opponent wasn't playing around. Those were lethal blows aimed at his vital points. He's in a really, really bad spot. Even so, look at the sheer determination in his eyes. The opponent is floored. He's thinking about Gammon's insane power, speed, and precision. But the most terrifying thing? It's that raw, primal energy, something that reminds him of the old days of pure, brutal survival. And the fight reaches its climax. The opponent acknowledges Gammon's insane strength. He realizes Gammon could have killed him, but didn't. It was just pure righteous anger. What a goddamn talent, he thinks. The respect is real, even from his enemy. But just when you think it's over, another player enters the game. This red-haired guy is badly hurt, but he's still standing. And he's got one thing on his mind. No matter how monstrous he is, I'm still alive. But I will kill you. Oh boy, this is far from over. Our boy is at his limit, huffing and puffing. But his opponent is getting a second wind, fueled by memories of his past in the world of organized crime. This isn't just a school fight for him. This is life and death. He's remembering what kept him alive back then, his willingness to kill no matter what. And with a terrifying scream, he channels that killer instinct. He's going all in for the final blow. He's not just a brute. He's smart. He lays out his philosophy. The one who can kill will always win. He fakes an attack, quickly repositions, and strikes when Gammon is off balance. It's a classic, deadly tactic, and Gammon is falling for it. And look at that speed. They're calling it supernatural for a reason. He closes the distance in an instant, unleashing a flurry of attacks. Our boy is caught completely off guard. This is it. He's going for a one-punch kill. He's not just aiming to knock him out. He's trying to break his windpipe. He's confident Gammon can't dodge this. This could be the end for our boy. But wait, just as the punch is about to land. Whack! A kick out of absolutely nowhere. A silver-haired guy just saved Gammon at the last possible second. Talk about a dramatic entrance. The savior is Hamel Pie, and he's got a crazy grin on his face. Gammon recognizes it immediately. Hamel's bleeding, which means he's gone into his berserker mode. Meanwhile, the other opponent is down for the count. The tables have completely turned, but the party's not over. Another player joins, a one-armed, blue-haired dude, and he's got a bone to pick with Hanwell, threatening to tear off the face of the guy on the floor if he doesn't get some answers. The situation is escalating fast. With the place on fire and new enemies showing up, Gammon knows they have to bail. Without a second thought, he hoists his injured classmate onto his back and prepares to make a run for it. Look at that determination. Our boy is a true hero. Just as they're trying to escape, another guy appears out of the smoke, and he clearly knows Hanwell. You shouldn't treat a partner like that, he says with a smirk. Uh-oh, the plot thickens. Who is this guy? Back in the Inferno, everyone's regrouping and assessing the situation. Young Hyun admits Gammon had spunk, while Young Hyun Ji speculates about his motives. But look at Gammon. After all that, he's just sitting there with this chilling, triumphant grin. What is he thinking? And just when you think there's a lull, the guy Gammon just saved leaps into the air, ready to attack again. You still have the energy to play mind games? He yells. Even Gammon is caught off guard, thinking he jumps pretty high. The chaos never stops. Meanwhile, somewhere else, things are getting ugly. A guy is being brutally subdued and dragged away. Get him in the car, someone shouts. Look at his terrified face. This is a straight-up abduction. Who are these guys? And we get a close-up of the yellow-haired guy, the one who called Hamel partner. He calls out For Chun with this predatory smirk on his face. This dude is definitely bad news. Elsewhere, a group of students is making a desperate escape. They barely made it out alive and are trying to piece together what just happened, suspecting Young Hyun Ji is behind it all. But just as they catch their breath, they're stopped in their tracks. Freeze! What now? They start doing a head count of everyone they pulled out of the fire, and a horrifying realization dawns on them. Fuck, we forgot him. In the chaos, they left Min Seong Hyung behind in the raging inferno. The panic and guilt are overwhelming. Back in the fire, the fight rages on. One of the students gets blown back by an explosion, but look at him. Even after taking a hit like that, he's still smirking. And then he pulls a knife. This place is an absolute war zone. Meanwhile, the red-haired guy is facing off against a new opponent, a calm-looking dude with his hands in his pockets. With another injured kid on the ground between them, the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Gammon and the white-haired guy are also in deep trouble. The building is starting to collapse around them. They've got to get out, and fast, or they're going to be buried alive. The situation is going from bad to worse. Meanwhile, this suit is casually strolling through the fire, cracking jokes about turning into Yakiniku. He's revealed to be Young Hyun Ji, the heir to the white lead gang. He warns the other guy not to underestimate him, just because his young boss beat his master. The arrogance is off the charts. The air is thick with betrayal and suspicion. It seems everyone has their own agenda. Young Hyunji drops a chilling line. They say when you smile, the world smiles with you, before coldly stating that his former associate has nothing to do with YB anymore. The layers to this conflict are getting deeper and darker. Young Hyunji starts giving out orders, telling Gamon's crew to get out and find Sivon, calling him a potential threat to Manhwa. He's sending them on a mission while he stays behind. Look at Gamon's face. He's utterly shocked by this turn of events. It seems everything is connected to a MS, Hankyong Lee. Gamon decides to take matters into his own hands, sending a message to Young Hyunji that he wants to talk. He also tells them to take their unconscious friends with them. As the fire rages, the stakes get higher. Gamon dashes through the flames, his face bloody and determined. He silently vows to keep watching Young Hyun, to see if he'll keep his promise. There's clearly a deep, complicated history between these two. Young Hyunji watches in disbelief. After all that fighting, he can still run with someone on his back. He thinks, completely amazed by Gamon's stamina. Some of us can barely walk anymore. Our boy's endurance is just legendary. In the heart of the inferno, the two rivals have their final standoff. The yellow-haired guy is all smiles and taunts, while Young Hyunji remains cool and collected, even joking that he'll take good care of the other's old man. The tension between them is electric. Young Hyun seems to have it all figured out, musing about his opponent's sentimentality. But then, everything goes sideways. A massive explosion rips through the building, and a mysterious man with an eye patch appears. Who the hell is this guy? The yellow-haired guy finally snaps. He's decided to live for Mr. Pai, which means destroying anyone in his way. But he makes an exception for Young Hyun, calling him the boss's relative and his first-ever friend. The relationship between these two is a twisted mix of loyalty and rivalry. We flash back to a tender, yet tense moment. The yellow-haired guy is holding a little girl. An older man warns him to be gentle, saying the old man doesn't care about her. He's pleading with him to at least try to care for her. This adds another layer of tragedy to his character. Back in the present, Young Hyunji is alone and trapped in the fire. He fought off 11 guys and knows no one is coming for him. He's been left to die. As he stumbles and finally collapses, his vision blurs, but he sees something. What the? It's a yellow-haired guy, and he's just standing there, mocking him, saying this is the consequence of his life choices. That cold remark is all it takes. Fueled by pure rage, Young Hyun struggles back to his feet, ready for one last round. And another memory surfaces. A funeral in the pouring rain. A woman burned so badly in a fire, she was unrecognizable. The pain of not even being able to say a proper goodbye. This is clearly the trauma that haunts Young Hyunji. In the end, he saves him. The yellow-haired guy complains about carrying him with his bad arm, but then scoffs, thinking, looks like Gamon rubbed off on me too. He's acting tough, but deep down, he couldn't just leave him there. A true frenemy. Back with the other students, the horrible truth is revealed. They didn't forget Min Seong. He told them to leave him behind. He sacrificed himself so they could escape. The weight of that decision is crushing. That was his order. Die, motherfucker. And that's what he intends to do. He can't let this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slip by. He channels all his remaining strength for one final, desperate attack. We see a flashback of Min Seong being confronted and beaten by his friend, crying and apologizing. He was clearly carrying a heavy burden of guilt, which likely led to his decision to sacrifice himself. It turns out it was all a setup. Min Seong intentionally wandered into Hanwol Pai's territory to fall into a trap. He used himself as bait, all to get his leader alone with the enemy. A calculated sacrifice. And we see the result. Min Seong is on his knees, begging for forgiveness, while the blue-haired leader just smiles down on him condescendingly. The power dynamics and sheer cruelty are on full display. The humiliation doesn't stop. The white-haired leader doesn't want money. He wants something else. He tells the guy to crawl through his legs. It's the ultimate act of degradation, designed to break his spirit completely. Back in the burning building, the white-haired guy is pinned under debris. He weakly tells Min Seong he never tried to kill him, but Min Seong coldly calls it willful negligence. It's only then that he realizes the others didn't carry Min Seong out with them. The betrayal hits him hard. It seems this whole tournament, inviting the Yakuza rookies, was all part of the yellow-haired guy's plan. He looks at the silver-haired guy with a dangerous smile and asks, "So how can I lay a hand on you?" The mind games are getting intense. Meanwhile, a mysterious figure in a car calmly analyzes the situation. He realizes there were traps set up and that he underestimated his opponent's ambition. Looking at the smoke rising from the building, he calmly accepts it. I knew this might happen someday. This guy is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. At the same time, a white van is speeding down the highway. The passenger is laughing manically while the driver calmly confirms their destination. Going to Incheon Harbor? Something big is about to go down. But they've got company. Two guys on a motorcycle are hot on their tail. The one in the back, all beaten up, points ahead and yells, "I think that's the van." The chase is on. And just when you think this is a normal chase scene, a giant mechanical leg slams down from above. What the hell is that? The scale of this conflict just escalated dramatically. We flash back to Young Yun telling the red-haired guy to stop arguing and go find Sivan. He knew they'd try to deal with Sivan at an organizational level because he's a threat to Manhwa. This was all part of his plan. The urgency finally hits him. If we mess around any longer, they'll kill him. He remembers how Sivan suddenly changed, and now it all makes sense. He has to find him, and fast. He's sprinting through the underground passage, racing against time. He knows there's only one exit, and his friend Manhwa is supposed to be waiting outside. She might have seen where they took Sivan, but when he gets out, the street is empty, filled only with smoke. He turns to see another girl looking back at him, her face a mask of pure shock. It looks like she saw everything go down. It's Hee-won. She asks if he saw them take Sivan away, but June, the guy with her, is too injured to even speak. He just collapses onto the pavement. Things are getting worse by the second. Meanwhile, the kidnappers are checking in with their boss. They confirm Minwon escaped safely and apologize for taking so long with these two punks. The boss just laughs it off, saying they really were a handful. The casual cruelty is chilling. The boss gives his orders. He'll take the redhead, and they can do whatever they want with the other one in moderation. Then, with a simple command to put the punk in a van, they speed off into the night. The injured guy is racking his brain, trying to remember where the van went. But the details are fuzzy. He's desperate, wondering how he can possibly catch up to them. The sense of helplessness is palpable. But just in the nick of time, a motorcycle screeches to a halt beside them. The driver, with a huge grin, yells, "What happened? Hop on." The cavalry has arrived. With eyes on the target, they track the van's movements. It's at the Wajin intersection and still going straight. Even a passing taxi driver notices something is off, muttering about how they're just plowing ahead. Back in the building, Gammon gets the intel over the phone. He guesses their destination is Incheon Harbor. But as he tries to slip out a secret exit, he runs straight into three men in black. He's cornered. Somehow, Gammon managed to get out and hail a cab. He's frantically telling the driver to follow that van. But just as they're gaining on it, the light turns yellow and the driver hits the brakes. Are you serious? This triggers a traumatic memory. A similar situation, a yellow light, and a failure to catch his target. It's intertwined with another memory of a violent crash where he shielded a girl from the impact. The past is coming back to haunt him. But this time, there's no hesitation from the pursuers. The light turns red, but the motorcycle rider just guns it, flying through the intersection. He's not letting rules get in the way of this rescue. And the woman on the back of the bike is none other than Ms. Han-kyung Lee. She's the one who tracked the gray van. Now that they've all teamed up, Gammon grips the handlebars, ready to go. It's about to get real. And what follows is pure action movie chaos. A foot chase, a firefight, a high-speed collision. The entire city block has become their battlefield. The intensity is off the charts. The guys in the van are actually enjoying this. Nice. I've always wanted to do a car chase, one of them laughs. Meanwhile, on the bike, our boy Gammon is holding on for dear life, his face locked in intense concentration. The contrast is hilarious. We get a glimpse into a past struggle. The blue shirt guy is getting beaten down by a man in a suit while the blonde girl watches helplessly. He tries to dodge and escape, but he's completely overpowered. It's a painful memory. He remembers being pinned to the ground, utterly helpless. The shock and rage on his face say it all. That feeling of powerlessness is something he's clearly never forgotten. Sivan's in there. With that thought, Gammon launches a flying kick at the goon on the side of the van. The driver is furious, and another guy leans out to attack the bike. This has turned into a high-speed brawl on wheels. And then they do something absolutely insane. They grab the goon and start dragging him along the pavement with the motorcycle. The guy is screaming his head off, calling them crazy motherfuckers. This is next-level wild. The plan is to pull the guy onto the motorcycle while the other one goes to rescue Sivan. And is that a helicopter? This operation is getting more complex and dangerous by the minute. The blonde rider swoops in and saves his friend just as he's thrown from the van. It's a perfectly timed rescue. But immediately after, something slams into the back of the van, shattering the rear window. The impact sends the van into a violent roll. It crashes and tumbles across the road before finally coming to a stop, smoking and wrecked. There's no escaping from that. While our boy Gammon struggles to carry his injured friend, the other kid casually asks Sunchul if he's seen Hanwol. The tonal shift is jarring. What's this guy's deal? A letter addressed to Gammon. A fieri truc explosion. A cherished photo of a man and a little girl. And a lonely girl clutching a teddy bear, staring at the moon. These fragmented images hint at a tragic backstory, full of mystery and loss. And as the night winds down, a purple-haired boy lies sleeping in his bed. After all the chaos and violence, this single moment of peace feels incredibly precious. The next day, Gammon is still reeling from the events of the previous night. His friends fill him in. The last person they saw was young Hyun-ji, dragging him away somewhere. But the biggest question remains, where is Manhwa? Tensions are running high. One of the guys is absolutely furious, ready to explode, but the purple-haired kid tries to calm him down, telling him now's not the time to go after their target. The internal conflicts within the group are starting to show. The crew seems to be tracking down Ms. Hankyong Lee, and the guy in the rehabilitated t-shirt looks on with a cold, determined expression. He's clearly a key player in this search. Turns out, the guy left with an unexpectedly calm look in his eyes. When Gammon's friends hear he beat the Japanese monster, they're hyped. But the mood shifts when they ask about Hanwol's whereabouts. Gammon remembers Hanwol telling him to get June out first, saying he'd catch up. They try to call him, and the blonde girl mentions she has something to give him. Meanwhile, the red-haired Jawon seems to have been captured. But the call isn't from Hanwol, it's from the police station. We cut to the Incheon Central Police Station, where a detective is on the case. Looks like our boy's extracurricular activities have finally caught up with him. And there they are, getting an earful from a detective. He's grilling them about constantly fighting and now hosting a tournament in a club, of all places. Look at them, taking the lecture like scolded kids. In a flashback, a huge masked man is beating down a gray-haired kid, furious that the school security is running a casino on campus. The corruption in this school runs deeper than anyone thought. And the guy getting beaten is a cop. He tries to identify himself, but the other guy just doesn't care. Ain't my problem, he says. So much for Detective Na's suspect, overpowering technique. It looks like Gammon picked up a thing or two from the detective. He yells out the technique name, bare-fisted taser gun, and knocks his opponent out cold. Then he immediately thinks, what the hell's wrong with me? The secondhand embarrassment is real. So, while investigating the casino, the cops stumbled upon the fighting tournament. At the same time, a girl named Ah Sung-hong shows up, literally carrying a guy on her shoulders like a package, yelling about a boyfriend delivery. And she walks right into a crowd of cops. The timing is just perfect. The cops raid the club, arresting everyone linked to the Tawaran who escaped the fire. The place is in chaos. The students are terrified, realizing they're completely and utterly screwed. The detective calls Gammon, and specifically because his picture was on everyone's phone. He figures out they weren't in it for the money. Luckily for them, that means they're getting off relatively easy. Our boy's fame is spreading. Turns out, it was the live stream from BJ Doxasong that saved them. The footage proved to the detective that they weren't fighting for money, but for freedom from Chumahai's control. So, instead of gambling charges, they just got slapped with minor violence. They really dodged a bullet. Gammon's dad shows up, and he is furious to find his son fighting again. He's about to lose it, but then an old master steps in and neutralizes him with a single move. This is Master Gong, the greatest tiger fist master of the Chinatown Quan Association. You don't mess with this guy. Meanwhile, the blonde kid is apologizing to a gray-haired woman. She's his former master, and even though he was exploded, likely a mistranslation for expelled, she's still there for him. The moment Gammon sees her, he bows deeply. This woman clearly commands immense respect. It seems this woman is Ms. Hankyong herself. Gammon's dad, the silver-haired guy in the tactical vest, starts yelling at Gammon, blaming him for all the trouble. But then, the security guard points at Gammon's dad and shouts, "Wait, isn't that him?" Gammon is completely stunned. His dad is the hero of the Somalia pirate hijacking, Korea's own Dr. Schweitzer. The reveal is absolutely insane. His dad is a national hero. So, the famous Dr. Jeongo Yoon was called to the station because of his son. Our boy Gammon is so flustered he can only apologize. But his dad just smiles, and the look they share is filled with 1,000 unsaid words. Outside the station, the parents are having a chat. Gammon's dad humbly says that the other kids have been a positive influence on his son. It's a surprisingly wholesome moment between the adults. They reflect on their roles as adults, admitting they haven't been perfect. But seeing the kids put their strengths together to do some good, they think it's wonderful. They decide to be a little flexible and let this one slide. The kids earned it. But the night isn't over. A blue-haired kid is being escorted by two men in black suits. Gammon and his friends can only watch in shock. Who is this guy and what's going on? It's Yanbaek Pai. The name alone strikes fear into Ms. Hankyong. It's been a long time since they've seen him. Another major player has just stepped onto the board. Yanbaek looks at Gammon's dad and, with a chilling smile, asks, "Friend?" The weight behind that single word is immense. What is the history between these two? Outside the police station, two old acquaintances meet again after a long time. One with a playful smirk, the other with a cold expression. The last time they saw each other was after the fight. This reunion is dripping with tension. Yanbaek's simple question, "Friend?" hangs in the air. The fact that Gammon's dad knows this dangerous man is a massive bombshell. The entire study group is floored. Yanbaek's goons are giving Gammon's friends the stink eye, but Yanbaek himself seems amused by our boy. He even compliments his goatee. This casual, friendly demeanor from such a dangerous man is incredibly unsettling. Gammon's father, Jeongo Yoon, steps in, explaining that Yanbaek is an old classmate. What follows is a tense exchange, full of veiled meanings and references to their past. Clearly, there's a lot of bad blood between them. Jeongo remarks on the irony of running into him in front of a police station. Yanbaek fires back, wondering why the great Dr. You would be here, guessing it for the same reason he is. The mystery deepens. Yanbaek reveals he's a sponsor for Yusung High, so of course he knows all about its most popular student, Gammon. The way he looks at our boy, with that smug, condescending smile, it's a clear power play. He's showing him who's boss. The sheer pressure radiating from these two men is enough to silence everyone else. The study group can only watch in terror as Yanbaek and Jeongo face off. The tension is absolutely suffocating. Yanbaek seems to be airing old grievances, telling Jeongo that even though he reformed things, the problems still exist. Meanwhile, Gammon's friends look on with pure hostility. The battle lines are clearly drawn. His goon tries to step in, but Yanbaek waves him off. He tells Jeongo that he prefers to deal with things before they become problems, rather than cleaning up the aftermath. He's practically admitting he had the teacher removed. The audacity, and it clicks for Gammon's friends. Ms. Lee disappeared because she discovered Yanbaek's secret, just like another teacher before her. But Yanbaek plays dumb, pretending he has no idea what they're talking about and rushing off because he's a busy man. The man is a master manipulator. One of Gammon's friends can't take it anymore and lunges at Yanbaek from behind, accusing him of making the teachers disappear. But his bodyguard is faster, intercepting the attack and landing a solid punch on Gammon instead. All hell is breaking loose. Gammon realizes their only play is to act like clueless high school kids. They can't let on how much they know. So he grabs his friends and they make a run for it, apologizing profusely. It's a strategic retreat and it catches the enemy off guard. As they run off, Yanbaek's men laugh, commenting on how polite Jeongo's son is, except when dealing with bad guys. Meanwhile, Yanbaek slowly approaches his old classmate, the confrontation far from over. And with that, the unexpected face-to-face with Yanbaek Pai comes to an end. After a bit more conversation with his son and the others, Jeongo watches him leave, the tension finally breaking. After their narrow escape, everyone's heart is still pounding. As Gammon drives his friend home, he gets teased about being the most popular student at Yusung High. Look at him getting all flustered. Such a cute moment after all that intensity. Later, in the car with his dad, the big reveal comes. Yanbaek Pai, we went to the same high school. Gammon is stunned. And then his dad drops the real bomb. We used to study together. His dad downplays it, just calling him an acquaintance. But the look on Gammon's face says it all. He's just realized how little he knows about his own father's past. A whole new can of worms has just been opened. His dad decides to stay in Korea to help him out. He gives him some fatherly advice. Giving up is easy, but it won't make you happy. He makes him promise not to get into too much danger, but then laughs, though of course, not much out there's dangerous for you. My son's the best. The pride in his voice is just so heartwarming. After his dad drops him off, our boy stands alone on the street, watching the car drive away. The lonely look on his face, the cuts and bruises, it's a stark reminder of the heavy burdens he carries. He's been through so much. Then it hits him. Hamwell. He wasn't at the station. He remembers seeing him get out of the fire. But where did he go? A sense of dread washes over him as he stares up at the tall apartment buildings, lost in thought. Weekend comes, and the study group decides to wear their school uniforms again for old time's sake. The girls complain about their skirts being too short, and the guys just goof off. It's a nice, normal moment of teenage life. But the peace is shattered when Spiky Head comes running, yelling for Gammon. He shoves his phone in Gammon's face. There's an article in the local paper about the Tawurin and the fire at the club. The secret is out. and the article contains a bombshell. Yeonbaek Pai's son, Hamil Pai, has been declared missing after the fire. At that exact moment, a blonde woman on a motorcycle pulls up to the school. The person she's looking for? Gamin Yoon. Things are about to get complicated. All right, a new day, and the classroom is buzzing about that fighting tournament. Everyone's got an opinion. But check out our boy Gamin, completely tuned out, laser-focused on his notes. While they're all gossiping, he's quietly sending a fax. The man is always on a different mission. Meanwhile, in some stiff government office, this guy is desperately trying to get a package to Hamil Pai for questioning. But the official is a total hard-ass, basically telling him to buzz off. You can see the panic on his face. This delivery is life or death. So the messenger manages to get it to the Incheon police station. The guy receiving it, our spiky-haired friend, is being extra careful. He even pulls out a photo from the envelope before reading the letter, just in case a detective tries to peep. Smart move. The note inside is a bombshell. Go here and you'll discover your father's secret. And what do you know, as they're reading it, the news breaks online. A fire just broke out at that exact location. Look at his face. The pure shock. It's all connected. And the news gets even worse. The headline is clear. Hamil Pai is officially missing after the fire. Everyone's freaking out, but our boy Gamin, he's processing. He knows how big the fire was, but he's thinking he had more than enough time to get out. Something's not adding up. Gamin's mind is racing, probably putting the pieces together. But someone else in the group is straight up furious, muttering about that son of a bitch. The tension is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. The whole study group is just silent, and then it explodes. The orange-haired dude calls them out for even caring about Hamil. Remember what he did to Ms. Lee? Who gives a damn if he's dead or alive? And honestly, he's got a point. Hamil was a monster. The conflict is real. He's not letting it go, screaming that he was against Hamil joining from start. Gamin tries to calm things down, admitting, yeah, she's right. Hamil's in. But even he knows it's complicated. The group is completely divided on this. But just as things get super heavy, the mood does a complete 180. This dude shows up carrying a massive suitcase. On his shoulder. Why? To show off my vigor, he says. Look at the girl face-palming. The comedic timing is perfect. Turns out the suitcase is important. Gamin thanks him for holding on to it. This must be where they stashed Ms. Lee's phone and all the other evidence they collected. Our boy is getting the full story now, but he had no idea what they went through to get it back. So, here's the flashback. They had to hunt down the guy who had the phone. He's frantically calling Manhwa, who picks up all chill like, what? Why? Little does she know, this dude is having a full-on heart attack from the stress of finding her. How did they catch him? The cops were questioning adults and high schoolers separately. But since our girls weren't questioned, they just waited by the adult side. The moment the suspect was released, he saw them and made a run for it. Totally busted. After they caught him, the interrogation began. The guy's trying to act tough, I could still beat your ass, but they're not having it. They cut right to the chase. Where did you get Ms. Lee's phone? And the answer they got was completely unexpected. The guy claims he doesn't even know who Ms. Lee is. He says he just took whatever phone some smooth-talking kid gave him to pawn for cash. And who was that kid? None other than Manhwa. Speaking of Manhwa, there he is, drunk off his ass. Some mysterious dude finds him and offers a money-making opportunity, a bag full of phones that could be exchanged for chips at the high school's illegal gambling den. This is shady as hell. Manhwa is suspicious, asking why this guy is helping him. The mystery man just gives him this sly grin and says, oh, I'm not doing it for free. Then he hands over a very specific red phone. The instructions are weirdly specific. The phone is factory reset, but it'll turn on in about a month. When it does, he has to call a number from inside the gambling den, let it ring a few times, and hang up. That's it. This feels like some spy movie setup. And that's the story of how Ms. Lee's phone, the key to everything, made its way back to the study group. The bell rings, signaling the end of one problem and the beginning of another. After all the trouble they went through to get it back, they realize the phone is on a 1-month timer. It's a waiting game now. Even though it's wiped, their tech guy says there's a small chance they could recover the data. It's a long shot, but it's a step closer to finding Ms. Lee. But look at Gamin. He seems lost in thought, a bit skeptical about all this. Suddenly, the counselor barges in, demanding to see Gamin. The teachers are confused. Everyone's confused. What's going on now? Gamin heads to the counselor's office, completely baffled, only to find the blonde woman from the school gate waiting for him. And she gets straight to the point, saying she wants to talk about his cousin. Our boy is even more confused. Cousin? I don't have a cousin. The woman scoffs. I'm not your cousin. I'm Hamil Pai's girlfriend, Nari Shin. And then she drops the bomb. On the day of the fire, Hamil left her a message. It turns out Hamil told her to talk to Gamin about what happened. Meanwhile, elsewhere, This girl is bawling her eyes out because her mom told her missing basically means dead. Kids say the darndest things. And the guy next to her is a total piece of work. Instead of comforting her, he's gloating, saying stuff like he burned up without a trace. And good for you, isn't it? What a sadistic creep. The girl keeps crying, not dead. Well, wait a minute, she's not just crying, she's twisting the blue-haired guy's wrist. He's screaming in pain, and right on cue, our boy Gammon steps in to break it up. Can't let a bully get his way, even if the victim is a jerk. The story takes us to Chandler International, a super elite school for the rich and powerful. They call it the Nobles School for a reason. And this is where Hanwell's little sister, Hansol, attends kindergarten. Hanwell's girlfriend is confident he's alive. And back with Gammon, he's assuring little Hansol that her brother isn't dead. But the blue-haired punk he just saved gets back up, trying to start a fight, yelling, "Did I say you could leave?" Seeing Hansol so worried reminds Gammon of a time when Hanwell actually had friends. But the guy in front of him clearly isn't one of them. The guy looks at Gammon's uniform with disgust. "You're wearing the same uniform as that prick? You're just another Yusung high thug." He even says he smells something foul, calling their school a sewer. The disrespect is off the charts. He gets more and more worked up, pointing right in Gammon's face and screaming, "Society really got to throw out the trash." And then he just swings on him. But did he really think he could just punch our boy? Gammon doesn't even flinch. He just counters with a single, clean punch, and boom. Down goes the bully. The guy's brother immediately jumps in, bragging about how much money they paid for him to learn Jeet Kune Do from a master. He's a true kung fu master, on a whole new level from the street brawls you're used to. The fangirling is real. And the result? Gammon, while literally carrying little Hansol to safety, casually kicks the kung fu master away like he's swatting a fly. So much for being on a whole new level. The blue-haired punk completely loses it. He grabs Gammon by the collar, screaming, "Who the hell are you? You want to die? Dude, you just got owned. Take the L and walk away." But just as things are about to escalate again, a man in a suit appears. "What's going on?" he asks. And it's none other than the principal of the kindergarten. The mood shifts instantly. The principal notices the punk's bloody nose and asks if he got in a fight. Suddenly, he's all flustered. "No, not at all. I just tripped on a rock." And with that pathetic excuse, he grabs his brother and makes a run for it. The change in attitude is hilarious. Now the principal's attention turns to Gammon. "Are you a student? If you're not a student or family, you're not allowed on campus." Our boy starts sweating, but little Hansol comes to the rescue, yelling, "He's my brother's friend." The principal asks Gammon to follow him to his office. Our boy gets a weird vibe from him, and a quick news search confirms it. This guy used to be a US Army soldier. No wonder he's so intense. The problem? Gammon's English sucks. Thankfully, modern technology saved the day with a voice translator app. The principal cuts right to the chase, asking if the news about Hanwell going missing is true. Gammon confirms it's true. The principal sighs, mentioning that Hanwell hadn't come around recently. Just a few months ago, he'd be the one walking Hansol home from school every day. It's a sad reminder of what's been lost. It turns out the principal has a favor to ask. And from Gammon's reaction, it's something big. "Are you really asking me to do this?" he thinks, completely shocked. The principal's request is insane. He wants Gammon to be Hansel's warrior. Basically, he wants him to take Hanwell's place in the school play. Gammon sees right through it. "Are you trying to break me down so I'll say yes?" The look on her face says it all. But our boy has a heart of gold, so of course he agrees. He marches back in and declares, "I'm here to be the warrior in Hanwell's place." And it turns out the play, A Returning Warrior, was written by none other than little Hansol Pie herself. In a flashback, we see just how happy Hansol was when her play was chosen for the talent show. She immediately called her big brother, excitedly asking him, "Can you play the warrior for me?" Even though she was hesitant at first, her brother's encouragement gave her the confidence she needed. "Yes, I can do it," she declared, saying she was planning to visit Incheon anyway. The bond between these siblings is so sweet. Back in the present, the principal lays down the law. If you think this is just your average kindergarten show, you're sorely mistaken. At this school, every performance goes through a rigorous R&D process. They're not messing around. He even brought in a famous theater director to work on the play. But with the lead actor missing, he says they have no choice but to cancel Hansel's play and go with the runner-up script. The pressure is on. Meanwhile, the punks from before are celebrating. Turns out the runner-up script was written by the older brother, and they're already plotting to take the lead role. As Gammon politely says his goodbyes, a new battle is brewing backstage. But our boy isn't giving up that easily. He turns around and thanks the principal for allowing Hansel's play to go on. Everyone is stunned. "What the? Didn't he just say he's going to use your play?" The kid is playing 4D chess. The brothers are livid. They think Gammon is pulling some stunt because he wants to be on that stage. They vow to teach him a lesson and restore the rightful reputation of down games. Oh, it's on now. And they're not playing fair. They call on their private security contractor, a massive dude with an eye patch who immediately gets in Gammon's face, calling him scum of the earth. The intimidation game has begun. The moment Gang Hui-young appears, the atmosphere gets heavy. But the kindergartners just see a cool dude with an eye patch. Looks like a pirate, one shouts. No, it's the all-seeing eye, another chirps. The contrast is hilarious. The blue-haired punk uses the opportunity to give his bodyguard a new mission. I'd like to give you a chance to earn a little bonus, he says, clearly talking about Gammon. Our boy feels the shift in the air and immediately goes on guard. Meanwhile, on a totally different side of the story, we meet Min Seong Paeon, the top dog at Choma High. But he looks down on his luck, clutching his last coin. I'm going to tell you this now, he thinks. It sounds like a final confession. In a flashback, we see him being interrogated for running the illegal tournament. But he's cocky as hell, telling the detective, instead of coming to me with testimonies of 2-bit criminals, bring me some actual proof. The audacity of this guy. He remembers that detective. The guy had more than enough proof, but immediately went after the principal instead. Why does he work so damn hard at his job? He wonders. The detective's intensity is unnerving. He lists off his crimes: aggravated assault, running an illegal gambling den, assaulting a teacher, bribery. The list goes on. So why the hell? He wonders. Did he only get protective supervision? He walks down the street in a daze, screaming internally, I did some really bad shit. Do I have to stab a guy to get any prison time? This guy is desperate for punishment. It's wild. His mind flashes back to the fire, to the news about Hamill being missing. He remembers the fight, squeezing out every last bit of his strength, wishing he had more time to enjoy the victory. He remembers screaming die at the blonde kid, but he didn't go through with it. Now, back in the present, his expression is calm, resolute. He's made up his mind about something. His eyes land on a file photo. Ha-Yo Pai, the eldest son of Yanbaek Pai. Is he dead or alive? He wonders. And just then, he gets a call from the man himself. Cut to some random delinquents goofing off by the river. One pretends to push the other in, but almost falls himself. Dude, you scared the shit out of me, one yells. Ah, the simple joys of being a teenage punk. And now we're in a luxurious office. The nameplate on the desk reads President Yanbaek Pai. An underling is reporting that they've moved the injured Mr. Kenichi to the VIP ward and ensured the rest of his crew receive proper health care. The cleanup operation is in full swing. The underling apologizes, saying he never expected things to turn out this way. But President Pai isn't talking about the business with the Japanese. I was talking about the situation with Hanwell. He reports that the firefighters couldn't find his body in the wreckage, so he hasn't been declared dead. President Pai's reaction is chilling. He turns, his eyes blazing with fury, and says, "What are you making me sad about?" The rage is palpable. The underling immediately backpedals, showing his unwavering loyalty. Whether or not you are the president of Korea, you will always be my boss. He knows exactly what to say to calm the storm. Suddenly, a man with a crossbow barges in, screaming and pointing his weapon right at the loyal underling. "You're that son of a bitch who's always by Yanbaek's side," he roars. Looks like someone's here for revenge. The assassin threatens to kill him, but the underling stays cool. "If you do that, things will only get worse for you." This sends the attacker over the edge. "How can things get any worse for me?" D. And then he fires. But President Pai's right-hand man is no ordinary suit. He moves like lightning, dodging the attack and snatching the crossbow bolt right out of the air. The reflexes on this guy are insane. And in the next second, he uses the momentum to slam the attacker face first into the ground. It's a total one-sided beatdown. He sighs, noting that this is the first time someone's made it to the top floor, but calls his method of revenge stupid. When asked who the guy is, he simply replies, "I don't know. I don't have the time to remember each and every person who has a grudge against me." That is the ultimate flex. President Pai emerges, chuckling. Well, that's true. He tells his man not to worry, that he'll make sure the blood stays on his own hands, so his subordinate will never have to pull the trigger himself. Their relationship is complicated. President Pai reflects, saying he always knew his son would one day hold a knife to his throat. He believes that if Hanwell really did survive that fire, it would be the worst possible outcome. He's already set his plan in motion, reporting Hanwell to the police and sending his own men on a massive search. He knows that if his son truly wants to disappear, no one will find him. Everything is going according to his twisted plan. Cutting back to Gammon and Hansol, he tells her she'll be taking part in the school event soon. "You're going to be the warrior?" she asks innocently. "Look at that gentle smile from our boy. He's really taking this role seriously. But trouble is never far away. Gong Hui's boss gets a call with a special task: beat up some high school kid. The boss tries to refuse, saying they're not gangsters, but the client makes an offer he can't refuse. Money talks. So the job gets passed down to the new guy. The boss shows him a photo of Gammon. See this goofy-looking kid with glasses? It's a special task with a little extra incentive. The rookie is stunned. They're really going to beat up a high schooler? This is Yonga Jun. Back in high school, he was the star, the main character. But now, he feels like an extra in someone else's movie, watching from the sidelines as life passes him by. He thought being an adult would be amazing, but the reality is crushing. He keeps getting rejection letters, all with the same generic message. The frustration finally boils over, and he just breaks down, sobbing at his computer. He rants online that Korea's unemployment problem is a tougher opponent than any enemy he's ever faced. He's eating instant noodles when he gets another call, probably another rejection. He's so beaten down he tells them, "There's no reason to hire someone like me for a job that pays so well." Poor guy has completely lost his confidence. But wait, the voice on the phone says, "What are you talking about? You got the job." The turnaround is instant. He's ecstatic, buying a new suit, taking a shower, hyping himself up in the mirror. New hire Yonga Jun. Life is good again. One night, he's on top of the world, dreaming of his new life. The next morning, the cold, hard reality of having to actually go to work hits him. The joy is gone, replaced by pure dread. The struggle is real. In his first task at the new job, beating up a high school kid, he tries to object, but his new boss just calls him a pussy. He's furious, but not at his boss. Gammon, that punk. What do you do now to get a security company on his ass? Let's switch back to our boy Gammon. He's in the principal's office, making a passionate speech. "That's why I believe we must do Hansel's play," he declares. The principal is worried it will put too much pressure on Hansol, but Gammon argues back. "I think it'll be worse for her if you cancel her play." He explains that with her brother's fate unknown, the last thing they should do is add more sadness. At 7 years old, her last memory of this place will be nothing but sadness, he argues. He's fighting for her. He even brings up something his uncle told him about parallel universes. The moment you accept bad news, it might become a reality. Therefore, he says, they cannot turn the bad news about Hanwol into an established fact. They have to give Han Sol hope. Hope that Hanwol, her returning warrior, will come back. Our boy's speech is so powerful, he's pouring his heart out. Just then, the world-class theater director, Kevin, approaches them. He looks Gammon up and down and says dismissively, "Only if you have the qualifications to play the warrior." Ouch, harsh. Turns out Kevin is a perfectionist and can't stand the thought of failing to meet his own standards. Little Hansol, however, adores him, greeting him warmly as Mr. Kevin. Kevin recognizes Gammon and confirms he knows about Hanwol and Gammon's offer to take his place. Gammon gets nervous, but his expression is firm. He's committed. Kevin keeps laying into him, saying he's not delicate or beautiful, that he's just ordinary. But then he changes his tune, quoting his saying, "Even a lion must put in its full effort to catch a rabbit." He says it's his duty to provide the best experience, even for a kindergarten play. In his opinion, Hansel's warrior requires someone with a unique aura and presence on stage. The standards are impossibly high. Then Kevin hits him with a real question. "Do you speak any English?" Gammon freezes. The play is in English. Kevin needs an actor with at least one standout characteristic, and our boy is coming up short. So, Kevin delivers the final blow. "Unfortunately, you're not good enough to play the warrior." He argues that without Hanwol, the original muse, there's no reason to proceed. Hearing this, little Hansol clenches her fists. This is the last straw for Gammon. He finally snaps, yelling at Kevin, "You can't only look for what's special in people. You're only looking for what's special in a world where it's even hard as hell to be ordinary." He argues that the theater is a place where ordinary people get to show what's special inside them. Fired up, Hansol joins in. "If my brother asked Gammon to substitute for him, I'm okay with it, because I know Hanwol will be watching from somewhere." The passion is infectious. Challenged by a high school kid, Kevin is forced to reflect on his pride as a director. In his mind, there is nothing more tragic than embarking on a piece that cannot receive a perfect score. Even though he's pissed at the director, Gammon apologizes to Hansol for messing things up. But she just shakes her head, a small smile on her face. She's not mad at him. Driving back to school, Kevin mulls over Gammon's words. "I doubt he knew what he was talking about, but some high school kid just hit me where it hurts." And right at the school gate, the rest of the study group is waiting for Gammon. Suddenly, a group of men in suits surrounds them. "That's him," one of them says, pointing at Gammon. Kevin, still in his car, whips his head around in shock. Our boy and the blonde girl are cornered. Kevin can't just sit by and watch. It isn't normal for a group of big men to drag a high school student away, he thinks. As an adult, as a scholar, I cannot turn a blind eye. He's going in, but the scene he runs up on is not what he expected. It looks like our boy Gammon doesn't need any help at all. Director Kevin arrives on the scene and is absolutely floored. One of the suits is getting slammed so hard by Gammon that the desk underneath him shatters into pieces. The sheer power is terrifying. It turns out, in the time it took Kevin to run over, the fight had already started, and Gammon was not holding back. The blonde girl is stunned, but Gammon's face is pure, cold fury. These guys picked a fight with the absolute wrong high schooler. A brief flash shows us what set him off. He was pushed to the ground, his glasses sent flying. It was a moment of pure humiliation. But now, the tables have turned. Gammon is unleashing a brutal barrage of punches, even throwing one of the guys off a ledge. This is what happens when you push the quiet kid too far. The suits are trained professionals, and they start ganging up on him with coordinated attacks. But Gammon's movements are fluid, dodging and weaving through their assault. The blonde girl is watching from the sidelines, completely mesmerized. That Gammon Yoon. She thinks it's cause he's a fucking good fighter. The fangirling is real, and she gets it now. Her mind drifts back to a conversation with Hanwol. She remembers him looking down one day, and when she asked what was wrong, he just said, "I thought I was hiding it pretty well." He told her he wasn't being troubled by a bad person, but by a good one whose good intentions were holding him back. "If I ever leave this place," he said, "it'll be because of him." That person was Gammon. She had begged him to tell her who it was, but he just said, "He's a damn good fighter. I guess you might run into him someday." And now, watching him take down these hired thugs, it all clicks into place. "Gammon Yoon," she whispers. So that's who Hanwol was talking about. Yanga Jun, the rookie security guard, is watching the whole thing, completely stunned. His movements have gotten smoother. A genius and a hard worker? No one could defeat that. He's so caught up in the spectacle that he almost misses the fight ending. The realization hits him. This isn't some goofy kid. This is a monster. He knows his boss will never believe him, but he has to report it. He lost to a high school kid. They're screwed. But Yanga isn't going down without a fight. He's not just some rookie. He decides to step in himself and show this kid what he's really made of. He grabs a makeshift weapon and starts swinging wildly at Gammon. He has to admit, he's pretty good. The surprise is written all over his face. He leaps from a high vantage point, coming down on Gammon with a powerful strike that sends our boy sliding across the pavement. That had to hurt. Yanga's original plan was simple. Show off a bit, then get knocked down so he could collect his severance pay and quit. But now his pride is on the line. Seeing Yanga fight reminds Gammon of his uncle. He can't use his uncle's forbidden techniques, but he's determined to win this his own way. Gammon unleashes his third move, Wedge, a powerful blow that sends shockwaves through the air, and Yanga recognizes it. It can't be Uncle doing this kind of work. The confusion is real. He instinctively guards the back of his neck, expecting a fatal blow, but Gammon faints. The battle IQ on our boy is off the charts. His mask gets knocked over his eyes, blinding him for a second. In that moment of darkness, he realizes something. He doesn't know it's me, he thinks, but this kid is merciless. Gammon is fired up now. He was just going to exchange a few hits and throw the fight, but not anymore. Before I surrender, he thinks this is the perfect time to give him a real taste of his uncle's fists. He's going to show him just how good he's really gotten. This is about to become an honest-to-goodness fight. Meanwhile, the boss of Down Games is just chilling on his couch, living the good life, completely oblivious to the beatdown his employees are receiving. His brother, the punk from before, is bragging about teaching those Yusung High trash a lesson with the power of capitalism. "Korean kids are best crushed with the weight of your wallet," he says with a smirk. "These guys are the worst." And elsewhere, another player enters the game. This is Jeonji Hong. He looks out at Yusung High and smiles. He's going to be living here from now on, and he's about to shake things up. The fight rages on, and you can see the fire in Gammon's eyes. He's not just fighting for himself anymore. This is personal.